Hello, this is Frank Gambale, and you're watching Guitar Mania.
Frank, it's good to see you in Austria, the birth town of Zipflo Weinrich, who I understand you will be playing with tonight.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. It's our first show tonight here in Vienna.
How many shows will you be playing with Zipflo?
We have 4 shows only, and all in Austria.
How did the cooperation with Zipflo came about?
Well, I get lots of offers to play as a sideman for various things, and generally speaking, I really enjoy working as a sideman. You know, running your own band and being the boss, and is sometimes a lot of pressure. You know, the venues, the arranging all the gigs, and sometimes working as a sideman is a lot more fun for me. And I also get to play with a lot of musicians I may not ever work with. You know, so it keeps me fresh to play with other players. And to learn other people's music is always interesting, too. So anyway, I was offered this, and I looked at Zipflo, and I thought he was a fine musician. And I also, the arranger, Kuno, is a very, very fine and highly regarded pianist. So to me, I saw the strength there, and then I was told Dominic Di Piazza and my old friend Damien Schmidt on drums. It's a great band. And Philip Ingram, James Ingram's brother, singing. So I thought, wow, what a nice band. Interesting. It's like United Nations, but it's fantastic. I enjoy meeting new musicians or people that I've known about that I haven't worked with before. So.
You mentioned before we started the cameras that how many years have you been in the business? How many records have you produced more than on your own name?
Well, under my own name, about at least 20 solo albums, and books, videos, all that other stuff, and with Vital Information, I was involved as a writer and in that band for 20 years also, with Steve Smith, Tom Coster. And I wrote a lot of music for maybe 10 albums with Vital Information, and I did 3 records as a trio with Steve Smith and Stu Ham. We did 3 records, and et cetera, lots of stuff.
How do you decide when you write stuff, what you will use for, let's say, Vital Information, and what will you use on your own records, or your trio formation?
The projects usually are so more or less chronological. So if I have the next 6 months, if I know I was working with Vital Information, then my focus and all the writing at that time would go to those projects. And then later, if I have to make my next record, then I would start writing for that record. Sometimes I have songs from before, or something lying around that I haven't used, or an idea that I want to develop and finish, that I'll take for whichever record I'm doing at the time, or I'll save it. Sometimes I save a song for my own records.
Saving
not always.
Saving. I'm glad you mentioned saving. Where do you save your ideas, or do you keep them in your head? Or
oh no, I write them down, or I record them, or a combination. I always have to record it. Either on I have a little like a voice recorder that I take with me everywhere, and I've found that I have ideas, and if I don't, at 55, if I don't write something down or record it, I'll forget it in 20 minutes. I'll go, how did it go again? So I'm aware of this, so I make sure that I put the ideas down immediately. And if it's something I've been fooling around with all night, and if I'm home, I'll actually start recording. Just at least put the basic idea down.
Right. I saw on your website that you've already started writing for
the next Soul Mine.
The next solo album, yes.
Soul Mine.
Soul Mine, yeah.
Yeah, that's a project with my wife singing, and she wrote all the lyrics, and She's an incredible singer. I love her voice, and I want to have her involved also. And she's a solo artist in her own right. She's done 2 solo albums, and she's preparing for a 3rd solo album. She writes more pop music, more pop R&B, but it's very strong stuff. She's a great writer. And I've just recently played some guitar on her next record that's coming. And so anyway, we've started writing for the next Soul Mine record. I like writing vocal music now.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the last record, Soul Mine, was all vocal music. And it's been my best-selling record for a long time, so obviously my fans like it too, and it's reached a wider audience.
Do you write the melodies for the vocals on the guitar, or do you just...
I write mostly on the piano. For vocal music, because I do on the guitar too. Some of the tunes for the next record were written on guitar. It's a combination. I love the piano. I have a grand piano at home, and in my studio, and I definitely love the piano. I've been playing piano since I was 17.
Yeah.
So I can play any chord I need to play, and I don't have the same facility as I do on the guitar. So I tend to write simpler compositions on the piano as a result, because I don't have the same. I can't blow, I can't.
Sometimes that's a paradox somehow, because sometimes if you're restricted to certain parameters, it gives you at the same time sometimes more freedom. Would you, with the different instruments? Would you agree with that, or?
Well, it makes you just it gives you a different angle for sure. I love the piano because I can hear the bass and the chords, and then I come up with the melodies. I mean, guitar too. I mean. Either instrument. Sometimes if I can't get anywhere on the guitar, I'll go to the piano and something comes, and vice versa. Sometimes I'm on the piano and nothing comes, I'll go on the guitar and immediately something comes.
Let us briefly turn to your equipment. We see you've brought your new guitar with you.
One of them. I get new ones every couple of months, because they're beautiful.
You posted on your Facebook, you for a concert you played in this last December, you got 2 new carving guitars.
This is one of them, yeah.
And they came straight from the factory, and you played them straight away, so you don't need any time to familiarize with the instrument?
These are so beautiful and so consistently good. Well, the Carvin factory is the state of the art. They don't only make guitars, they make a lot of other things. And it's the only company that you can order every detail as you wish. The woods, the pickups, the radius of the fretboard, every detail is your own choice, which you can't do that with anyone else. So, but what I was going to say, the state-of-the-art machines, they're accurate to 1/100th of a human hair. So every guitar comes out utterly perfect, and then they finish it off by hand, of course, the detail work, but it's beautiful. They're beautiful.
It looks great. I'm sure it plays also great. What were the specifications that you wanted for your fretboard, for instance?
Well, actually, for my model, I copied an old Les Paul neck that I used to love. And so this neck is exactly that neck. And so I have it on all my guitars, which is a great thing, if you can take a mold and then make it, it's a beautiful thing. And this one, I've sort of going towards maple guitars these days. And I used to be more traditional, kind of mahogany body with, rosewood fretboard, and now I'm really liking the sound of maple bodies as well. So this one's all maple. Maple top, maple body, maple neck, maple fretboard, different kinds of maple, but all maple. And there's a tone. It's got a sound, it's brighter. The mahogany tends to sound darker, which is nice too, but I just like the way the snap, the tone of these maple guitars sound really good. And
you also brought with you your new DV Mark amp tonight.
Yes, it's called Amplitude, and it's 2 words, amplifier and attitude equals amplitude. And we've been developing it for a couple of years. It's a digital face, but it's still an analog amplifier. I'm still not convinced about all this modeling stuff. It's pretty cool. It's close, but I still like the sound of analog amps. So, although it's programmable and everything looks digital on the front, it's still just, clean, crunch, distortion, and it has effects built in, digital effects. It's got, a really nice reverbs, a bunch of reverbs, delays, chorus, and a parametric, a 2-band parametric. And it's all programmable, and it's cool. It powers, the MIDI powers my MIDI pedal, so I don't, it's easy to travel with. It's all in a 2-space. And it's about 300 watts, 150 a side. Solid state power, analog preamp. It's cool.
I think it's great that you ended up having an amp from an Italian company.
Yes. Yeah, there's a little bias there, a little bit.
Tell us what the bias is, Frank.
Well, I'm an Italian. What are you going to do? I'm Italian. And I love Italy. So, in fact, a friend of mine told me about this company, DV Mark. He said, you should check them out, And when I did check them out, I met the owner of the company. He's become a friend, a dear friend, Marco de Virgilis. And he's a lovely guy, and he's really a fan, a huge fan also. That helps a lot. But he's incredibly motivated, and he's an incredible, powerful individual. What he does, and what he says, he does. It might take a little longer, but he's created a new. You would think that the amplifier companies, there's already enough amplifiers on the market, and it would be difficult to enter. But he's entered the market, and he's already in 60 countries. He's in Guitar Center, which is the biggest chain of music stores in the world, and that's, just entering into a product into Guitar Center, you already sell millions of dollars worth of product, because it's such a great big U.S. chain that it's the biggest guitar store chain in the world. 400 stores, something like that. 350 stores. So he's gotten into there. Most people can't get into Guitar Center. It's and sometimes it can make the difference between whether a product is successful or not if they get into Guitar Center. So he's doing very well, and I'm very happy about that. And it's an obvious sign of his energy, to get things done and create a great product.
And it has the added advantage of you can have your own amp almost everywhere around the globe.
Yes, that's good too. Yeah. Yes. No. Well, one of the things that I'm happiest about these days is that I'm in a position where I can be involved creatively on the product side of things. With guitars. I've always had guitar models since the mid to late 80s, but amplifiers I haven't really been that much involved. I use whatever, I've used Marshalls for years and Boogies and all that stuff that everybody uses. But to be involved creatively to make products, it's only recently. So I'm very happy about that.
Frank, you have probably told this story 1,000 times. But we have lots of young viewers, and they might be interested to learn how you developed your incredible technique. Also, you've become famous for your sweeping technique, and you wrote books and you published videos.
Yes. And I'm also preparing an online school. I'm editing a lot of video these days. I've shot about 14 hours of a blues course, which is coming first. And the next thing is a new sweep picking course. And I wrote a new book. It's not published because I'm going to make it into video. But, I haven't written anything on sweeping since I did the book in 1984 and the video in 1986. So I've developed a lot of new stuff that I haven't really written down until just recently. I finished a new, I call it the sweep picking, what's the title? The Definitive Sweep Picking Manual is what it's called. And so it's got all the new stuff that I've been developing. Anyway, sweeping to me, briefly, is going across the strings instead of the regular alternate picking. Most guitar players play up and down picking, right? This kind of alternate.
Yep.
And I thought, I remember in the early days, just shut the door.
Shutting the door because otherwise we...
To me, when I was younger, I started doing this when I was, in my mid-teens. And I would have one note on 3 separate adjacent strings, and to me it made no sense to do alternate in this case. So I thought, why not just go straight across? It makes complete logical sense, and I like logic. Now it's crazy. It's gone. I can do anything with this technique. It's not. It doesn't do everything, but I can do whatever I need to do with this technique. A lot of kids are mixing up all the techniques, but for me, it was I wanted to play arpeggios. I love arpeggios. 2-octave. Most of the traditional shapes are like this. This is, say, a major 7. And you could practice this 100 years and you'll never be able to play it fast with alternate picking. And I didn't like it either, and I thought, surely there must be a better shape. And the beautiful thing about guitar is that we have a lot of notes. These are all E, the same E. There's a lot of different places to play the same note. So they're sort of like synonyms, right? Same note. So I thought, well, maybe we need to move some of these notes, because the arpeggio itself harmonically is cool, but I like this part. I could sweep that part, but the first part was no good here. All I did was move one note for my arpeggio shape, and it changed everything.
Right.
I moved this G, we've got C, E, G, B, right? This G I put here. So now I have 3 notes on the D string, but I can sweep one down, another down, then an up, and then down, 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 up, 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 down, up, 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 and 2 on the bottom to turn it around. Now I can.
It's a very economic way of...
Extremely economic. I like to be efficient. It's not, out of laziness or anything, but, when guitar players play fast, often it's tense, and it's a scale kind of a thing or something, and it's hard playing fast on the guitar. It takes a lot of physical energy, but I would make this analogy for sweeping is like having a car with 5 or 6 gears, like a BMW with 5 or 6 gears. Those extra gears enable you to go really fast, but the car is purring. As opposed to going the same speed in 3rd gear. That's what alternate picking is, I think. It's a lot of work. Some guys have it really fast and they look very comfortable doing it, but for most people it's very hard to get a fast alternate. But sweep, I can do it. It's a lot of notes. I can do it effortlessly, just with a smile. People say, look at me, they say, well, Frank, at least make an ugly face or something. Make it look hard. Please, make it look hard.
Frank, on that note, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay. See you next time.